Can you hear me now? Why is this? What the hell is going on with these? Can you hear me now? Okay, just let me. I don't know what. That's TikTok Studio. For some reason, it like changed my speakers that I always have. Here, just turning them on again. Okay, we should be able to hear. And now wait. Am I hearing myself in my own? Hold on. Let me check. Something is bothering me here because I wonder why the audio mixer reset. Primary speakers. Okay, yeah, I can hear myself now. Perfect. Okay, now I just needed to reset. Let me make sure then. Where is my... Oh, yeah, I don't have it on, so the sound's not there. Sorry, I'm just looking at the sound mixer, making sure we're going to be able to hear the clips. Okay, we should be all good. I re-downloaded TikTok Studio again. So that sometimes happens. Hopefully, I'm surprised by how much of the Epstein stuff I got through yesterday before I was almost banned. Actually, it's pleasantly surprising. But hopefully, let's tap the screen, share the live, get some more people in here. I think what I want to do today is I just clip that. If you have to be at work, well, it's a good thing you didn't catch this, but so this insane stuff is happening. Like 1,000 HHS workers have like signed this letter being like, we don't want to work for RFK, like he's a horrible person and all this. And then they fire the CDC director who Trump appointed and the Senate confirmed and all this crazy stuff. Well, RFK was speaking to the Senate Finance Committee, and these are the people, a lot of these are the same people that voted to confirm him, and pretty much everything he said in his confirmation hearing is a lie. And when I've just never seen, it's just people lining up to like scream at him, and then like Republicans like, let me help you spread some misinformation. So anyways, I clipped that, and then I clipped like a couple of things I just want to follow up. There's not much follow up on like all the Epstein stuff we went through, but like there's a few clips I want to show you that I clipped of like after that hearing, things that happened. I said yesterday, I was trying to explain to everyone that Marjorine's ex-husband, Halia, is possibly worse than she is. And everyone's like, I don't really know who he is. I also have that clip. I'm going to show you some clips of Marjorie after that hearing with the survivors, which I've actually did a lot of research on it. Like, who was it? Oh, well, actually, I'll play the clips. Hopefully we'll have time. I just want to make sure we have time for the hearing because, again, I have a doctor's appointment at 3:20, so I need to make sure I don't miss that. I don't have to leave the house. I just have to be online. Sorry, just finishing getting live on YouTube. And then we are getting going immediately. Tap the screen, share the live. Your support is appreciated. Tapping is clapping or expressing deep anger or whatever. Because man, I do like to see the senators express emotion though. Because I used to be like, do these people care about anything? And they're like yelling at RFK like he's a charlatan and stuff. It's like, thank you, but too bad you guys confirmed him. This is all your fault. Like Ashley, oh my gosh. Ashley, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. She said, in memory of my mom who passed away Monday, who always enjoyed my political updates from your show. I don't know. I try not to say I'm sorry because I don't think that's the right things to say. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to say, like, I have a lot of empathy for, and you know what I mean? I feel for you. I'm trying to think of I hate, like in situations like this when people are like, I'm so sorry. And like, I never think that's the answer. Like, I'm here with you, sending you all the positive energy, like, and love you, Smashly. You're awesome. I'm sure your mom was awesome. And this is the hardest part about how like old we all are. Like it's like the mortality of your parents, I think, is one of the hardest things to deal with. God knows. Like, I'm here for you. Yeah, sending you all the love of the world. And like nothing anyone says, I think, when a parent passes can make anything in the world better. Like, that's why I'm just like, especially when people are like, I'm so sorry. It's like, why? You didn't do anything. That's I hate when someone dies and people are like, I'm so sorry. Oh, I thought I just got a violation. I did not. Okay, cool. Sorry, a pop-up came, and I was like, it's a little early for me to be getting banned. Okay, again, I'm just going to go through a few follow-up clips from the Epstein stuff we went over, and then I'm going to go through as much as we can get through of this insane hearing that just happened in Congress of RFK pathologically lying while senators screamed at him. It's so I've never. Oh my God, it's a long time overdue. Is something happening right now? Like something is happening. It just like keeps flashing. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, TikTok Studio is freaking out. It's like I can see myself, then the screen's going black, then I can see myself again. That's why I thought I was getting banned. Hopefully, I think it's okay now. Hopefully, we're good. Okay. Again, so I'm just going to play, and I think there was like 3 or 4 different lawyers who represent different Epstein victims of the 100 plus who were there, who were speaking after the fact. I just want to play a couple of like the relevant clips I heard. Hey, Loris.
Understand. I just don't understand what the hoax is. We just all watched as many survivors of Jeffrey Epstein told their story. I was fortunate enough to speak at the rally that was running parallel at the Capitol with multiple survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking about their truth, speaking about their stories, speaking about the fear he instilled, and just begging, all of us just advocating and begging this Department of Justice to release the files, stop slow rolling, stop giving us these behind the closed door interviews. Stop giving us bits and pieces. Stop giving Ghislaine Maxwell a platform. Just release the files. Where is the hoax? These are real victims, real survivors with real stories whose lives were devastated by Jeffrey Epstein and those who enabled him. And all they want is full transparency, full exposure, and full closure. There's no hoax. These are real people.
He's referring to, again, Trump calling the survivors and the press conference and everything a Democrat hoax, as well as saying any Republican that signed on to this is a hostile act. Like, we still, I believe, as of now, right now, need 2 Republicans to sign this discharge petition. I think after that press conference, I think 65 Democrats signed. Hold on. Let me think of the numbers here. I believe right now, after the untimely unalivings of some members of Congress, I think there are 212 Democrats in Congress. For a discharge petition, you need 218 signatures to bypass the Rules Committee and force a bill to the floor, a resolution to the floor. And obviously we have 4 Republicans, Thomas Massey, and then the only, he's a co-author of the bill with Ro Khanna. So obviously him. And then all of the men, the Republican conservative men that were like, I'm 180% going to do this. Just remember and which I'll play these clips. I thought Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey in an interview with Caitlin Collins last night did a really good job of just saying, like, hey, the public's on our side. Like Thomas Massey was, 8 statistically, and I showed this. This is from a Pew Research study this month, or in mid-August, and I was showing these 80% of Republicans want the entirety of the Epstein files released, and like the people that the public overwhelmingly believe are the survivors. So I don't think we're making Trump's making any friends by continuing to discredit these people. I think it's idiotic. I wanted to show this clip because I don't know if we'd call these like red pill bros. I think some of them are, but like Andrew Bustamante is in here. I don't know. I always keep my eye on what right wing males are up to. Andrew Bustamante is a former CIA agent. Like he worked in like a nuclear sub, so he had like super high levels of security clearances already, and so then they recruited him into the CIA. I actually don't mind listening to him. Whatever. But anyways, these are just a group of men talking essentially. Like, let's say, discussing what they thought about that Epstein press conference and Trump, which I thought this was very telling.
Why would Trump run on releasing these files if, when he was in office and Epstein got locked up and they got all this information and he this can't get out to the public, why would he run on releasing it?
Because he's dishonest.
Point blank. All right.
I mean, Trump is dishonest. I think we all understand Trump is a dishonest character.
Right? I mean, he told us that on the pod. He said, "I am a mostly truthful person."
Guy who's saying that's Andrew Bustamante, the guy that has super long hair. Now that I show you who he is, if you don't know who he is, you'll probably see his videos on TikTok. Like, for a while he was going like super viral, talking about his experience in the CIA and like all this and that. Hey Chrissy, love you. Engage with the poll. Chrissy says engage with the poll, engage with it. Love you, Chrissy. But this is Andrew Bustamante. You probably, now that I say this, you should look him up on TikTok. He has a lot of good or interesting stories. I never say take anyone, like, making money off talking about their experiences and intelligence. I think take everything with a grain of salt. But I mean, it's very clear. He worked on a nuclear set. Like, in order to have those types of security clearances, you got to be pretty competent. And he's pretty smart. Like, you know, he's an interesting person to listen to, whether you take everything he says at face value or not. Definitely like a highly analytical person.
Basically saying, I lie sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When it's strategically relevant, when it's beneficial to marketing, when it advances the cause, when it gets him what he needs in the long run, it's a short-term sacrifice for.
I'll write it down. I'm going to put it in the comments. His name is Andrew Bustamante. So it's Busta. Oh my God. I haven't typed. Is it Monte? Oh, wait, no, it could be. Hold on. Let me just Google it and then I'll tell you because I'm about to spell it wrong. I haven't typed his name in so long. I mean, he's pretty famous. Like, if you start typing his name into TikTok, it will know who he is. Like, I just remember the reason I know about him. Yeah, it is an A. Okay, I was right. It's Bustamante. Yeah, there. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why. Thank you for all the people who already had corrected my spelling and I wasn't looking. Sorry, it's just, I'm not feeling so well. I have a doctor's appointment. This sinus infection is not going away. I just have a lot of pressure in my face. But yeah, that's Andrew Bustamante. Again, he's a really interesting person to listen to talk about his time in the CIA and stuff. I find it interesting. Again, I would take it with a grain of salt. But this is their discussion of what they think of Trump after the Epstein Survivors Conference and Trump running on releasing the files and all that. I thought it was a really interesting clip.
Why would Trump run on releasing these files if, when he was in office and Epstein got locked up and they got all this information and he know this can't get out to the public, why would he run on releasing it?
Because he's dishonest.
Point blank. All right.
I mean, Trump is dishonest. I think we all understand Trump is a dishonest character.
Right? I mean, he told us that on the pod. He said, I am a mostly truthful person. Basically saying, I lie sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When it's strategically relevant, when it's beneficial to marketing, when it advances the cause, when it gets him what he needs in the long run, it's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. Like,
so was it just a huge miscalculation? He thought people would not care after he gets elected. Like, if he know he couldn't.
Well, he did release. I think he thought, oh yeah, we're going to give him some red meat. We're going to put together all these influencers. We're going to give them these files, and we're going to leak all the stuff, and they're going to eat it up, and we'll be good. I'll have done my job. And then no one ate it. And then he was like, oh, shit.
Is that what you think, Andrew?
You got to keep in mind that, like, Donald Trump was there from the beginning of all this with his first presidency. So none of this is new to him. It's almost like a boomerang that's coming back to him.
He was back there with Epstein, too. You know?
Yeah, I mean...
I think that's a pretty, logical assessment, except for he tried to Epstein binder the public now like 3 times. Another time was just 2 days ago when he's like, released 33,000 pages. Yes, 98% of them turned out to be the same pages that were in those Epstein binders, and the rest of everything else is just blacked out. But you know, who was counting? Like, he keeps trying to binder us over and over and over. And that just tells you, like, that is like, when I saw that whole thing where Charlie Kirk was at that Turning Point USA conference and him and like Megyn Kelly went rogue and started saying Pam Bondi should be fired for those binders, which is idiotic because obviously Pam Bondi doesn't do anything unless Trump instructs her to do it in the first place. But when I saw that, I was like, these people are crazy. I mean, the real lesson from the Epstein binders is how dumb Trump thinks you all are. Like, Charlie Kirk's whole point at that Turning Point USA conference is Trump did that, or Pam Bondi, he's like, blames it on Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi did that to my best friend, Jack Posobiec. Well, then Trump and Pam Bondi think Jack Posobiec is an idiot. Like, there's no other explanation. And you guys all were being photographed with your stupid binders that had absolutely nothing in them. Like, yeah, I mean, that's just a testament to how dumb Trump thinks MAGA is. I mean, he said it. He loves the uneducated, and this is why. So people are not, and think about it. Let's say you're not dumb. Let's say you did figure it out. Because I think Jack so like, okay, there's nothing in this binder. But did you have the guts to be like, why is he lying to us? No, you're all spineless. You'll just get back in line. Charlie Kirk tried to call Pam Bondi out. Trump called him or was texting him while he's on stage telling him to shut up. And like an hour later, he's like, I trust President Trump. He wouldn't lie to us. It's like, oh my God. These people you guys are all pathetic. Like that, whether you are idiots and just believe everything he says at face value, or you're too spineless to stand up when you know you're being lied to, whatever the case may be, like he can walk all over you. Oh, but this is a fascinating clip. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene was on Real America's Voice, and I will say this: I'm not clipping because some things like Marjorie Taylor Greene is a bigot. I just want to be clear. You know what I mean? Like she's a bigot. Like she's like denigrates trans people. We all know the things she said. I mean, yesterday when I was watching for clips of her on these far right shows, I mean, she was being a bigot. That's what I'm trying to say. So but for some reason, when it comes to these Epstein victims, she has literally decided, and I mean, I've heard it's crazy the stuff she's saying. I mean, she's implying that Trump's lying. It's not a hoax. Like other right wing hosts of shows are trying to say it's a hoax. She's like, it's not a hoax. Like, you know, like she's like fact checking people. But I mean, still a lying bigot about everything else. But for some reason, when it comes to this, I guess her and Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace have decided to tell the truth. Who knows why? MTG is saying a lot. You should have heard her on far right media yesterday. She was going crazy because people were like, well, maybe it's a hoax. She's like, it's not a hoax. Like, I know it's not a hoax. I was like, I don't know why she's doing this about this one thing, but I guess she's just decided to be a decent person on this one issue and continue being a horrible bigot liar about everything else, you know? Like, so it makes perfect sense. But this is like probably one of the most interesting clips I saw.
Today, he called it a hoax while these women were speaking out, and they were saying, we're not a hoax. We're human beings. And I think we need to see something turn around there. And I'll say this, Eric.
He can prove it's a hoax by releasing it. Let us decide if it's a hoax or not. I mean, I love everything they're doing. I'm MAGA through and through.
Well, I just want to finish up on one thing. Yeah. It's not a hoax because Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted pedophile. That takes away the whole hoax things. It's not a hoax. It's not a lie. And on that note, Eric, every Republican should be able to sign on to this. And that's the real hoax, that they're afraid to sign on to it because somebody who is a real coward from one of the Trump admin officials came out and called this a hostile act against the Trump administration. And I take very big offense to that because I put my life and my fortune on the line fighting to get that man elected. And whoever said that has their job because of people like me that fought all the horrible Republicans that stabbed him in the back after January 6th. And I was one of those that fought on the front lines and said, no, he is the leader of our party. He is the president, and we're going to make him president again. Well, that coward attacked me and attacked anybody else and called it a hostile act. The hostile act was Jeffrey Epstein raping 14-year-old girls. That was the hostile act, and it's not a hoax. Today he called it a hoax.
It's like invasion of the body snatchers. Like, who is this person? And like yesterday I was telling you guys, like, have you ever seen Marjorine's? Oh, by the way, who was that? By the way, I just need there's an idiot in the comments. Bullfrog, who you can't request to have come up because, probably because nobody cares about their opinion, said that it is a hoax. It is not. These people that were speaking at the Epstein Survivors Conference helped put away Ghislaine Maxwell. These are witnesses and victims in the indictments. But I mean, go off like there's two of the people that spoke at the main press conference were new and had been fully vetted But everyone else, all the other people, are literally people that helped put Ghislaine Maxwell away, were part of the state investigation. Like, if you are saying it's a hoax, that's just say, hey, I'm an idiot. I feel insecure. I have no idea what's going on. And I just randomly yell things because I feel stronger when I try to push women down. That's what you should be saying. Like, just say, I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm deeply insecure and idiotic. Like, you don't have to waste all this time, like, making up lies that you don't even know what you're talking about. What is wrong with MAGA men? Linda, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. I know. See, this is what I'm saying. Marjorie's following a line of logic, calling people in the White House cowards. Like, that's such a good point, Nancy. So she can follow a line of logic. All I can ever picture about Marjorie is when she demanded to hold like a subcommittee hearing, and they gave her like a broom closet, and she was like, her and 4 people were in a broom closet talking about people stealing baby organs, and I'm like, oh, so you're telling me like when you need to, you can make sense like that. Good to know. I'm good to know this might be an act. Like, I mean, or she's getting smarter quicker. I don't know what's happening here, but truthfully, I'll never, after the baby organ subcommittee hearing, baby organ stealing subcommittee hearing in the broom closet, I will never be able to look at Marjorie again the same. Like, oh, I know she is, and she represents the 14th. Sorry, I was answering Life with Morgan's comment. She said she's seeing how scary this administration is. Well, and she represents a depressed economy in one of the most depressed, and I mean depressed, not like I feel depressed. Depressed as in suppressed, depressed as in economic growth. Like, everybody in her district is about to lose healthcare. Their hospitals are going to close. They're losing their jobs. I mean, yeah, I don't know. If you have an ounce of care for the district you represent, even though she doesn't live in it, I mean, she should probably, yeah, I would start caring too, because people are about to feel all this, and she's probably like, I've got to get on the right side of something. But again, you saw Nancy Mace. Think of all the awful things Nancy Mace has said and done. She used to be an advocate for the LGBTQIA, but I would not say when she ran out of that hearing sobbing on Tuesday because of having to listen to those victims describe this stuff. That's what it is. They were all in a room listening to these people tell their stories of being trafficked. Like, I think it really hurt some people. I mean, if you have an ounce of empathy, I think you would take that seriously. I think it was Thomas, or was it Rocotto, who's like, Marjorie Taylor Greene was like hugging me after I spoke at the press conference. I think I have the clip. Rocotto's like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene was like hugging me, and I was like, this is insane.
If you got a chance to talk to President Trump this afternoon, what would you say to him?
I think that what I would really ask him for would be to be completely transparent in releasing information about this. We saw last night in the documents that were released, it was a show. There was no new information, and I think that the public is getting sick and tired of these document dumps that aren't showing or telling us anything. And so, if I could implore the president to do anything, I would ask him to stop politicizing this issue, because it's not a political issue.
Like, I'll get to this, but they want to meet with oh yeah, I don't want to ruin anyone's day. But when Mr. Global does these like FAFO videos, I just want to show you, that random uneducated person that doesn't bother to read primary sources who came in here, I believe his name was Bullfrog, and just said that this was all a hoax. Well, yeah, I mean, I just want to show you I'm sorry, white women, you need to come get this woman, because I'll come get the multiracial people who are acting a fool. It's white ladies, come get your person. Like, I've never in my life watched this. Prepare to be disgusted.
All these survivors that are coming out now randomly are most likely paid. If they were actually real survivors, they would have been involved a lot earlier than fucking now.
Just want to point out that's what that bullfrog idiot in the comments said too. Yeah, okay, so just say I don't read. I don't know what primary sources are. I don't know how to find indictments. I don't know how to read the congressional record. Like, there's no way for... Yeah, you're an idiot who seemingly cannot figure out that these people have been involved with the federal government and the Florida state government for 2 decades. You just seemingly cannot figure that out because you're an idiot. I mean... Literally, but like, Mr. Glow was like, okay. I mean, this people are serious. It's like, is it possible it could be you? Could it be you that's an idiot that didn't know that these people didn't just appear out of nowhere?
Okay. So listen, all of the survivors except for 2 have been a part of the Epstein case all along. They participated in trials. Like, they've been a part of this going back years and years and years. And the 2 that just came out were actually vetted and connected to Epstein. Yeah. Wow. I feel like, honestly, it just occurred to me, a woman could do this video so much better than me. I just hope your friends and family see this so they'll know who not to rely on if something like that or, ever happens to them at all. Wow.
All these survivors that are coming out now, randomly, are most likely paid.
I can't believe, like, someone needs to go gather their people up. Not it. I have melanin. I'll get the next biracial person that does this. Someone needs to go correct her. Because are you okay? Are you okay? What did 3 women arrested? When now you start talking about minorities, those instances increase, or we're more likely to be assaulted. When you start talking about the LGBTQIA, particularly trans people, those percentages increase. We're talking about the average woman in America. There's a 33% chance you've been essayed. Like, it is crazy for her to act like this came out of nowhere. Like, but I mean, that's the vibe, I guess. Like, I mean, also these people are idiots. So it's also just important to remember that's just an admission of her own idiocy. And also, this is why I say I don't debate MAGA women. You're idiots. And I don't even mean about the information, like the lines of logic that collapse in upon themselves, the data that you do not speak from, that you do not analyze and that you do not speak from. Like, I'm not talking about that part of it. I'm talking about the delusion, the absolute delusion, which these aren't my feelings. I'm saying I could prove it to you, through history, through primary sources, and through statistical analysis, that at no time, no matter how much you simp for conservatives, no matter how much you're like, I'm on board with you, I'll lie for you, I'll shit on women for you, I'll do whatever you want me to do, that you will benefit in any way, that women in general will benefit from it. Like, I understand fawning. I have been diagnosed with PTSD. Like, when you're a little child in highly abusive situations, your only choice of survival, like you always hear about fight or freeze, but there's fawn, right? It is, hey, I'm going to endear myself to my abuser, right? If I'm super nice, if I make these people love me, maybe they'll hurt me less and I have a chance of surviving. That was my survival strategy as a child. But if you think that by carrying water for the patriarchy, getting on your knees for them and telling a bunch of lies for them, that somehow they're going to think you're intelligent. I mean, they're not intelligent. Like, these are a bunch of insecure weirdos grouped together trying to act like women have tiny brains and project that onto us when in fact they are the ones that seemingly don't bother to read or, use data-driven evidence to make decisions. Like, you're never going to win. Like, I don't know what you think you're going to accomplish.
One question that I think a lot of people are wondering is, why aren't they just releasing the names now? Why don't they just go up at that press conference and give the names of the people that trafficked or raped them? I know the answer, but why don't you explain it?
That question was asked at the press conference, and the answer that was given is a very reasonable response. They are concerned about retaliation. They have been ignored. They have been lied to. They have been accused today of being participants in a political hoax. And so they are going to take steps very carefully moving forward and recognize the fact that the names of those to whom they were trafficked is an important issue, but it is not nearly as important as the assault against the civil justice system and the criminal justice system that has been taking place over the course of the last 2 decades. That's where the real story lies, and those are the real answers that need to be sought. And that's a major portion of what the victims were attempting to achieve during the press conference today.
I just want to be clear, like when we say retaliation, it's not even necessarily like, I mean, they will, like insecure, idiot MAGA men will harass them online, harass them, like ruin their lives. But I mean, I just want to be clear. We're talking about litigation, right? If they just said without a court decision that says, you know, without a trial, like, hey, this guy did this to me, they're going to be sued. They'll lose everything financially. I mean, it's not fair, but truly that's what will happen is defamation and libel lawsuits. That is, I mean, that is the truth, is these are a bunch of very rich people that are doing everything they can to hide their identities, have a ton of disposable income, and the minute these people just say, hey, this is what happened to me, yeah, it's gonna get, yeah, do think what happened in the Diddy case and how much he got away with. I mean, truly, like, this is going to be, it will get very scary for them. Legal, like I'm saying, judicially, in civil court, with lawsuits, never-ending lawsuits, and then all of the torture of, you know, insecure MAGA men who can't read, who want to continue to punch it out on women because they feel bad about their receding hairlines and their small D's. That stuff too. I'm not saying never underestimate the, you know, violence and terror of a large group of insecure men and what they can inflict on people to make themselves feel better. But also, I mean, they'll be tied up in litigation for the rest of their lives. It's also not their job to protect themselves. I mean, that's why we're tax-paying citizens. There's supposed to be an infrastructure set up to defend. You know, Trump said he wants to protect and defend and creepily love all women. Like, where is that at? Like, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even like talk about it, but this is another one of the survivors. I love their name. A lot of them have Polish names. I like Marika. I love all these names.
The president was weighing in from the White House just as we were hearing from you and other survivors on the Hill today, and he was calling it a Democratic hoax. Are we a hoax? Do we look like a hoax? Were all of us a hoax? I don't think so. I mean, no. Some lawmakers have said that maybe a meeting with the president would be helpful if he sat down with survivors. Is that something that you would be willing to do? Well, he's never asked us. It doesn't seem like he really, you know, even considers us or has, you know, any regard for us. The president was weighing in.
From a psychological perspective, as someone who was raised by a malignant narcissist, he does not. And like, don't take it personally though. I mean, none of us should, like, just to say, like, he has the same regard for this woman as he does for Don Jr. You know, which is none, right? We're all pawns in a game. We're pawns in a game, means to an end, as useful as we can be. Narcissism is all about transactions. Like, we're not people. We are, you know, chess pieces. And that's the hardest lesson, like, as a child of a narcissist to learn. Like, when you hear the anger from people who dated people with narcissistic personality disorder, they're like, he's a monster, he did this to me. Well, it's different for children. We're just like, I mean, it's a very hard thing to accept that, like, this person that raised you, like, you are no different to a random person on the street to them. And I mean, psychologically, that's the truth. It's just unbelievably hard to accept. And that's why I've always been a perfectionist, because I realize, like, do I think my mom, I mean, prefers me slightly over my siblings? Sure. Why? Because I'm pretty. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, to my mother, I'm an extension of her. Like, now that she's getting older, she exists through me. My success is her success. Everything I have is because of her. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just an extension in a way for her to continue getting supply as she gets older. If you don't know what supply is, learn more about narcissism. But yeah, that's the most you could ever be, which is a terrible, abusive position to be in. I just want to say, but I think that's what but I love how everyone's like, yep, been there. Yeah, narcissism is pervasive in America and in capitalism. I truly think it's like a defense against capitalism, and it's like exponentially growing. It's terrifying to watch. But yeah, like, it's like the best you could ever hope for is just your narcissistic parent trying to live their dreams through you and taking credit for everything you do. I guess. Otherwise, they just can't see you and you're garbage to them. Those are the two options. But I will say, you don't want to be the extension. Like, that's what the golden child complex is. It's like you are an extension of them. They are taking credit. Like, when I played Division I volleyball, I was like, that's me out there. I'm doing this. I'm like, yeah, I got my coordination from my black father, not from you. Like, I'd probably be better at this if it wasn't for your genetics. So it has nothing to do with you. But like, she would literally be like, taught her everything she knows. It's like, volleyball wasn't invented when you were in like the one room country house school. And I'm not joking. It's a real thing. That's where my mom went to school. There certainly was no volleyball. But yeah, like, she'll take credit for anything I do. You would swear to God. Like, my dad, all of my coordination comes from my father. Trust me. I've seen them both try to be athletic. Thank you, Tyrone, for the Venmo, for the $1 in Venmo, to see if this is the right person. It's me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sorry, if I don't read Venmos right away, I will get to them. Sometimes I forget to refresh or don't see it. Okay, wait. I want to find these Massey things because I think he said some pretty good things, and we've got to get to RFK.
I care most about the policy here, not the politics of it. But politically, it's really bad for Republicans. They should just have this vote and put it behind them. 80% of Republicans, it's not just independents and Democrats who want these files released. 80% of Republicans support releasing these files. So they're at odds with our base right now, and particularly the MAGA base.
You. And that's what I was saying. It's like, you're on the wrong side of your own base on this. And like, I was checking out a lot of MAGA podcasts and just kind of seeing the vibe. And that is the vibe. The vibe is, you promised us this, we deserve it, we owe it. And I wasn't going to mention this, but like, I had, a few months ago, I was playing a couple. God, I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm just gonna say a name, but it's probably not the right name, and you probably not. This will be the one thing you probably can't correct or tell me what the real name is, because you guys aren't watching InfoWars, like Alex Jones' show. But his like sidekick's name, I think it's Owen Schroyer or something. Like, he just fired him like a week ago because Owen Schroyer is like way younger than Alex Jones, and like, he won't lie for Trump, right? Like, they made all these promises, like, we're gonna expose all this information, like Epstein being one example, but there's many other examples. And he didn't quit. He could say he quit or whatever. They had to part ways because I was playing Owen Schroyer's clips because he was starting to just be like, Trump's a weirdo liar. And like, they couldn't work together anymore because Alex Jones is part of the MAGA industry that's profiting off of like the MAGA cottage industry, right? Like, they know that they're lying, but they won't do it. And I would say, when I looked at MAGA cottage industry, I will admit, I thought let's say he is complicit in it and has profited off of it, but like Dan Bongino did, he's basically, Trump won't fire anyone in his administration anymore. That's his new thing, because that's a sign he failed or picked wrong. So he just like invalidates people. And Dan Bongino, who was like the, deputy director of the FBI, like has no job. He was replaced with a former Missouri AG, and just basically sits there because he was, Owen was branded anti-Trump. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's why Alex, they had to part ways, because he was going on giant rants on InfoWars. Like, what the hell? Why is Donald Trump going back on everything he promised? You're not anti-Trump if you can follow a line of logic, and then you were like, hey, I honestly thought like he was going to do what he said, and then you just point out publicly he's not doing what he said. Like, that's the same thing that's happening with Nick Fuentes. Like, Nick Fuentes is like, I honestly thought, like, I thought we were serious about this, like, if you know what I mean. So there's certain people that are just, and it seems to be a lot of younger, but the well-read younger MAGA people who are like, hey, you made a lot of promises, like, this is bullshit, like, what are you doing? Oh yeah, don't get me started on the former Missouri AG. I have so many clips I never show you guys. I could show you guys like 10 clips of how crazy that Missouri, he's like an election denier, he's all sorts of crazy. And Dan Bongino, for just being like, oh, so we're going to cover up the Epstein files, he doesn't have a job anymore. And I will say, because if you would ask me, Kash Patel, I always thought was just a fucking liar who was covering for Trump. Because if you follow the money and you look at, sorry, I've got to turn off these co-host invites. They are driving me mental. Okay, there we go. If you look at like follow the money, Kash Patel was like, the whole time Trump wasn't president after January 6th, like through PACs that Kash Patel had sway over the money, like all of those quote unquote whistleblowers that were debunked, that were like coming out to go to these ridiculous congressional hearings and trying to impeach Biden, Kash Patel was funneling them money and all this stuff. So I knew Kash Patel is like in this for the long haul. But apparently, Dan Bongino used to say the world was ending every 6 months. So I thought he was nuts. I didn't know he actually had any sort of like line in the sand where he's like, yeah, I'm not going to lie for you. I was actually pretty surprised. He's like, yeah, I guess I'll just lose my job and like sit here. But imagine this though. I just want to point out, they've hired a new deputy director, and we're still paying Dan Bongino to sit there and do nothing and be cut out of things. Like, remember I told you Trump hired a Russian spy? I should really to show you about that, because this guy popped up out of nowhere. He was like the number one fundraiser. I think people have it wrong though. I think Trump knew who he was. I think probably, yeah, Sergio Gore. His name's not Gore, it's like Gorokoski. And Trump let him do all this, have access to like every file in the government without ever submitting to one background check. He never submitted to a background check. And when he finally did, they're like, holy shit, this is a fucking Russian spy. Like, what? Or allegedly whatever. But yeah, they were like, so, and oh yeah, and that, like, thank you, MAGA man. And to continue on with the insanity of the Trump hired a Russian spy, which, by the way, and I'm just reporting on reporting, right? This is people's receipts. I'm reporting on secondary sources, reporting on things. Kash Patel is also being accused of dating a spy. So just pointing out people who may be spies that people of the Trump administration are or are not dating. But what I'm trying to say is, like, he let Sergio Gore have all access to every document, every bit of information, all of the hiring personnel information in the U.S. government. It's terrifying. And then, like, until the reason is you can only be an interim hire, like, you have to get these security clearances eventually. And he finally turned in his background check, and they're like, holy shit, who is this? But Trump doesn't even seem surprised. Now he's the ambassador to India, which I think he'll just go there and then slip away into Russia. Like, that's what you know what I'm saying? Like, I think he'll just fly to India and slip away into his mother country, never to be heard from again. Like, that's what Like, because I mean, remember I didn't even get to this. Tomorrow, I'm going to catch up on all the interesting things, like that mysterious duffel bag that was thrown out of a White House window that now like 12 different people, like agencies have authenticated that video. Remember, I just want to point out the whole Yayo situation where they are accusing like Hunter Biden, who wasn't at the White House, of leaving, white powder substance like at the White House or whatever, and we've got people throwing duffel bags out windows. And you ask, why would you do that? Well, probably to not go through the security. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Like, don't get me started on Maria, whatever that was. I mean, she's back in Russia. She's a real spy. Like, she's a full-on real spy. What is it? It's like bucatino. I feel like I'm naming an Italian pasta. I always get her name confused with like an Italian pasta. I say like something halfway in between like an Italian pasta and whatever that spy's name was. Butina. Yes, there we go. I'm like Buca de Beppo. I don't know. I'm always like somewhere. I do that all the time. That's why I stopped saying her last name, because people are like, no, that's a pasta. You're just saying the name of a pasta. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, like, let's finish this really quick, because I could talk about that, how many people. And they said Eric Swalwell was crazy because he hired someone who they said was like a Chinese spy. At least they're not dating him, like allegedly, like Kash Patel. At least it's not the guy. Trump gave Sergio Gore access to every file in the government, like, which I'm just not. I don't know if he did it on accident or on purpose. Like, Trump made it easier for Russian spies to enter the country. He defunded every program, every intelligence agency's program that's protecting us from Russia. So my only question about it is, like, was it an accident or was it on purpose? Like, that's the only thing I don't know. Remember, I didn't get to talk about this, but did you guys see on Monday night, Trump's like crying on Truth Social because like a bunch of authoritarian fascists had a meeting without him, like the Cool Kids Club, like Kim Jong-un, like Modi, the dictator of India, and like Putin all got to, and Xi were like hanging out without Trump, and he's like literally threw a tantrum and was like, have fun plotting against the US without me. Like, it's like the kid who didn't get like the invitation to the birthday when like the moms are like, you have to give everyone in the class a Valentine, like you have to give everyone in class an invitation to the fascist dictator meeting. Like, he was, have you guys not seen this? I'll show you tomorrow. Like, remind me to show you tomorrow. And he was like, have fun plotting against the United States without me. It's like, I'm sorry you didn't get invited to the fascist monster meeting. But no offense to Trump. I just want to say, I mean, Kim Jong-un, I believe, was educated in Europe, possibly France or Switzerland, I believe, at a very, so I believe he's European educated. Modi, I know a lot more about, and I've read a lot of his like writings, and Xi is a genius. Putin was the former KGB director. These are highly intelligent people. No offense, Trump. They don't want a stinky like guy wearing a diaper, dragging one leg behind him with like two broken hands, like who can't think. Like, you are like the guy that they're like, oh God, did he find out we were hanging out here again? You know what I mean? Like, and then they're all like, ugh. Like, of course they don't want to hang out with you. Like, yeah, full offense to Trump. Full offense. Like, respectfully offense. But I mean, truly, like, look at you. Like, this is what I'm saying. This is the delusion of the house of mirrors that narcissists live in. I promise you, Trump thinks that he is like a 20-year-old that looks and smells great and his brain works. Like, I guarantee you that is what Trump thinks about himself. So he's like, why wouldn't they want to hang out with me? No reason, weird grandpa. No reason at all. No reason. It's not because you're like a creepy weirdo that they're avoiding and want nothing to do with you.
When you hear those women today on Capitol Hill, and then you hear what the president has to say, who do you think has more sway with your Republican colleagues? Those women or the president?
Well, with my Republican constituents, those women have the most credibility, and I think it's disrespectful to call it a hoax. This is not a hoax, not at all, and it's not going to go away. If the president wants to highlight the things that he's trying to do in the White House, then he should just call for the vote and release all of these files, and then he can move on. But they want to drag this out.
When you hear those women,
someone asked, what does the first lady think? I don't know. I did catch, and I'll just show you guys tomorrow. Melania, oh my God. Let me just be honest. I feel really bad for her, and I hope she gets to live some of her life not under the thumb of creepy Trump. But I do think she's complicit in all this. I've read a lot about her. I think she's getting paid handsomely and profiting off all this. But I still think it's really disgusting. Even though she won't let Trump within like a foot of her, I still think it's gross to have to be around him. So, but oh my God, she was giving a press conference today. I don't know why they thought she would be a person. You know, if you read her biography, she said she had like architecture degree or design degree. She doesn't have any of those. Like, she has no idea what she's talking about. She was given, I don't know why she's doing a press conference on AI, but Melania thinks that large language models are robots who are taking over. That's what I could tell you. I'll just tease it. I'll show you the clips tomorrow. But it's like, I literally was like, I had to check the name of the press conference over and over because I was like, wait a minute. She thinks that large language models are robots that are walking amongst us right now. Yeah, she's scared of the machines. She gave a press conference today. Nothing about the Epstein victims, but she's very concerned about her toaster killing her, I think. I have no idea. I mean, it was like, can a scientist talk? Nope, because that's what fascism is about. It's about discrediting science. And you'll see when we talk to RFK, like, the last thing, we're never going to hear from an expert again. It's just dumb people waxing poetic, you know, like that's what fascism is. It's like, any experts, let's get away, let's unalive those people.
why do you think that they're not resonating with the White House?
Well, they're resonating with the public in my district and all across the country. And in fact, they were resonating in the White House 9 months ago when the Attorney General said they would release the files, when the Vice President said they would release the files, when the FBI Director said they would release the files, when Trump's own children said that these files needed to be released. Why the 180-degree turn here from the administration? I think there are rich and powerful people who've always been beyond the reach of the law, or thought that they were, who want to remain there, and they're donors. They are donors to Republicans and Democrats, and we need to tell them, I'm sorry, you are going to be accountable to the law.
Why do you think that they're not?
Ultimately, I do think that's, I think honestly that, who knows? I'd be terrified to find, it's going to be very unfortunate when we do find out who these people are, but I know they're all going to be very rich and very powerful. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it so much. Sorry, I'm just going to skip around because I'm trying to remember. I wanted to show this clip of this woman. This is it. This is one of the survivors we heard speak who voted for Trump, which, I don't know how much sometimes those people just saying things like, I'm not a threat to you, or how much they mean it, but I found this very interesting. This is the survivor, and I'm sorry, is it Haley Robson? Whichever one it was, I should not say names because I'm probably going to get it wrong. Whichever survivor, when they were talking, said, I voted for Trump, that's who is speaking.
I have to ask you about someone who wasn't supportive today, and that is Donald Trump in the Oval Office calling what was happening in your discussion the Epstein hoax. He repeatedly called it a Democratic hoax, even though you were accompanied.
Lawrence, he didn't say Democratic. He doesn't know the difference between nouns and adjectives. He said Democrat, like they all do, because our education, because they know not what they speak of. I love how Lawrence is so nice. They didn't say Democratic. They don't know that word.
by Republican members of the House as you were standing there. How did you feel about that when you heard that word applied to what was happening there?
So I'm going to go off of my survivor sister, Haley Robertson, and I voted for him.
So I think, okay, I forgot about this part. So then I was right. It was Haley Robson who was like, I voted for Trump. And then I think she is another survivor who also voted for Trump. That makes sense. Because I was like, oh yeah, this is Jenna Lisa Jones. Okay, yeah. Because I think there were two who were like, yeah, we voted for you because we thought you were going to help us.
I voted for Trump. And for him to say what he is saying is beyond me, because I put my hope in him and he's supposed to protect us. And for him to say that this is a joke and that it's sides, this is not sides. We will say it time and time again. None of us are up there accusing him of anything. There is no one that is accusing him of any wrongdoing. So for the fact that he is saying those things and saying it's a hoax, who are you hiding for then? Because if it's not you, then who is it? And that scares me. Who is it?
I have to ask you about...
And they kept making this distinction. I saw someone in the comments, and again, I don't know, I'm just reading comments. Someone said that Massey named John Paulson. I don't know that. John Paulson was a not great looking, old, very rich hedge fund manager in New York. I mean, I believe if we're talking about the same one, yeah, he's definitely a billionaire. But I don't know about that. I know, like, I'll show you these clips, like, I wasn't even going to play them, but like what they're trying to say is like there was this Epstein scholarship fund, and Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey have been saying like, I don't know that they're going to distinguish the difference between like the victims and the people that received those scholarships and like all sorts of things. Also, Massey was saying, I'll just let you hear this, that they're running like $2.5 million of attack ads in his district. Billionaire donors to the Republican Party are $2.5 million in attack ads, and he's in a very safe Republican area, and they're trying to oust him for this. So I bet there's a bunch of rich people.
Have you heard if what those survivors said today changed any other House Republicans' minds? Has anyone else said that they are willing to sign on to this?
Well, I've talked to a few of them, and they were compelled in our direction. But there's an immense pressure campaign from the White House on Republican members right now. So I really think you got to give some credit to the three Republican women, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Nancy Mace, who, in spite of all the threats from the White House, which are still continuing, went and did the right thing. They're standing up for women by standing up for this resolution.
What do those threats look like? What kind of pressure campaign are we talking about here?
Well, I'm feeling it myself in my own district. There's been $2.5 million of ads run against me by three billionaires who are mega donors to the Republican Party. And one of them's actually, I'm not going to say on Epstein's list, but he's in Epstein's black book. So I've been taking the brunt of that myself. I think what's being run against me is a threat to other Republicans to try to keep them from doing what I'm doing.
I found the John Paulson clip. Hold on. I'm downloading it. I'm going to add it to the end of my Epstein cover-up list. Hold on. As soon as it downloads, I'm going to add it because I think I found what you were talking about. Whoever was talking about that in the comments, I am downloading the clip because I love Jess Craven. She made a video about it. So as soon as it downloads, I'll add it and we can listen. I just haven't heard it. Here we go.
Your colleague, Congressman Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, suggested today that she said to President Trump that he should invite and host the survivors in the Oval Office. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and the survivors are willing to meet President Trump as well. And I think that would be good for President Trump to humanize these people so that they can see this, he can see the survivors and know that this is not a hoax.
And by the way, so this is, before we watch the clip, this is the quote that Jess Craven put in the comments, or this is the quote from Massey. Let me give you the name of one of the billionaires, John Paulson. He is a major donor to the Republican Party, a major donor to the Speaker of the House, a major donor to the president's campaign, which maybe this is why Mike Johnson, all of a sudden, if you guys don't know, all of a sudden Mike Johnson's like, we should release the names on the list. Maybe this is why he's freaking out. So again, John Paulson, I mean, he's got at least like $3.5 billion or something. He's a hedge fund manager in New York. He's a major donor to the Republican Party, a major donor to the Speaker of the House, a major donor to the president's campaign, and he is in Epstein's black book. That is indicative of the types of people who may be implicated or embarrassed by a complete release of these files. So there you have it.
Survivors said that they had decided to compile their own list, but the reality is if they try to release that list, they're going to be sued into homelessness. They will be attacked. They will have death threats. And so what my colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene volunteered to do, and I've volunteered to do as well, is to read that list on the floor of the House of Representatives, because our founders put into the Constitution speech.
Might be the most decent thing Marjorie Taylor Greene's ever volunteered to do in her life.
Debate immunity, which says that we can't be prosecuted for what we say on the floor of the House. So we're willing to help those survivors get
through the speech and debate clause. Anyone in Congress is covered by that. So they can say anything they want. They can't be sued. They can't be arrested. That's like the congressional speech and debate clause that protects all them. So they're saying they can't read it, but I will, or I guess Margarine is saying she will.
Names out there. And as my colleague Rokana has said, we trust the public to determine who were donors to the Epstein Scholarship Fund and who were users of the women who were exposed to sexual abuse, to differentiate between those two groups of people.
So that's what I was talking about. It's like I keep hearing this mentioned. I think like what they're saying and what they've learned from these victims is like it was like under this pretense of this Epstein Scholarship Fund, people were funneling, some of the people, not all of the people, is what I believe he's trying to say. He's like, not everyone that donated to this quote unquote scholarship fund was using it to funnel money to Epstein to pay for whatever type of trafficking this is. But I think he's implying some people have, and we are going to differentiate between the two, which is effing crazy. I don't know. Listen, as far as Marjorie Taylor Greene having ulterior motives on this one thing, like, just understand, she's a bigot, like, and lies about so many things. But I mean, I don't know how whatever she's doing right now personally would benefit her in terms of, like, her bread and butter is lying for Trump. So I don't know how, what the ulterior motive could be. Like, I don't know how, if she wants to exist in that world, what her, Lauren Boebert and Nancy Mace are doing when they've been told, hey, anyone who signs on to this, it's a hostile act. I don't know how it benefits those three, especially with how easy it is for Republican or conservative men to turn on women. You know, they'll just throw them in the garbage. So for what sake came. So I don't know. I don't know what the ulterior motive is, other than just for some reason, like, this strikes a chord. Because if they have no feelings and this is strategic, then I would say this is more evidence that their brains don't work. Because if this is it because you believe in it, then you shouldn't do it, because this is not going to help you. Like, nearest I can tell, anyways. I can't think of a way that this would help the three of them. Like, that's why the rest of the spineless men who were going to sign this discharge petition disappeared. Literally, that's why, because Trump's like, do it and try it, see what happens. And for some reason, only these three people, like, continued on. I don't know. I just don't know how it directly benefits them. Okay, I want to show you this about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I was telling you guys yesterday how horrible her husband was, and I was saying, like, when she was like, still married when she got with Brian Glenn. I was going to say Brian Green. I was like, no, that's her name. Brian Glenn, who's a executive at Real America's Voice now, the guy that told Zelensky to put on a suit. That's Marjorie's current boyfriend. And I was like, oh, she's cheating on her husband, whatever. Like, she's awful. She must be gross. And then I saw a video of her husband, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad you got away from this man. Like, I just want to show you just the random video I came across. And the point of this video is, like, they don't tell you who it is till the end, but I mean, I already kind of said it. So, but yeah, I just want to show you who Marjorie Taylor Greene's ex-husband is. He's a monster. This is him. Some of these people he's screaming at are children. These are tiny children. These are underage. Some of them are underage girls who were praying in a parking garage, and he attacked. And he's in a cyber truck hurling racist, bigoted, and misogynist statements at them for 5 minutes. Again, some of these are children.
Demolish Middle East.
First off, we're actually born here. We're born here. Yes, we were.
Why are you wearing all this not American?
It doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. I don't need your help finding him. We already found him, and you definitely want to stick around for that part. But first, let's quickly show the full video and give the context. This is at the Avalon Mall in Alpharetta, Georgia, in the parking garage there. These two young ladies stopped to pray because they're Muslim. And then this guy rolled up in his cyber truck and had big feelings about that and decided to make it their problem.
That's really good.
Go back to your country because y'all believe in crazy question your authority. Go back to your country, please.
Okay.
We don't hold y'all.
That's perfect. Thank you.
We don't want any Muslims.
Okay. Thank you. No one brought anything to you, brother. Did we bother you personally, though?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. You can.
But see, like, y'all want to kill gays. Y'all want to do all kind of crazy. Where are y'all from? What country?
It doesn't matter where we're from. It does not, though. Why does it matter to you, though?
Because you're worshiping a false god.
No.
Yes, it is.
Are you Christian? All right, that's. Okay.
Don't come from your crazy countries and act like you're going to bring your here.
Okay. Cool, bro.
No. Because y'all are pieces of
Okay, that's perfect.
You're the one attacking little girls.
Have a nice day.
Girls, like, I want y'all to think about what y'all's process is, what y'all are thinking. Y'all been brainwashed.
We know what we believe.
But don't come to America and believe this. Go back to your country and believe you're crazy.
Okay, so that's fine. No one told you anything. We're sitting here. We were quiet. We were peaceful.
You're worshiping out here.
Praying. What does that have anything to do with you?
Go back to your country.
That's fine.
You're demolished Middle East.
First off, we're actually born here. We're born here. Yes, we were.
I just want to be clear. These are, one of them is a child, and these are American citizens who were born in America. That was later confirmed. These are 100% American citizens born in America. Who this is Marjorie. If you're just joining, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene's ex-husband. I'm just showing everyone why she had to divorce him.
It doesn't matter.
Don't nuns wear covering themselves?
We're not Afghani. You're literally racist. You just said anything.
It doesn't matter. Use the racist word, but be American. Don't be.
Okay. I'm sorry if it's not on your standard. You can go ahead and leave. I don't know why you're wasting your time. Okay, then if you don't care so much, you can go ahead and enjoy your day. Okay.
Because your countries are so. Where y'all are from is so. Come here. Go back to your country.
I can call the cops. If you're gonna keep around, that's fine.
What are you talking about?
one that people say he's following them. Like, people in the comments are like, why don't they just ignore him? He's stalking them. They're walking away and he's following them in his car. Just to be clear, like, why doesn't he just not attack children who are walking? Like, I don't know.
What about your date? What's the point? Are you gonna follow us? What's the point?
I'm trying to get out of the
Do you want to learn about our religion?
Go back to your country.
Have a good day. Have a good day. That's okay. That's okay. Just leave him alone. Go have a good day. Oh my God.
He starts that shit by saying, I question your authority. Your authority to pray on your own? I question your authority for saying something to them. You worthless, racist piece of shit. And all of the things he says. Go back to your country. You're shitty Middle Eastern, blah, blah. You're not American if you're wearing. Goddamn, dude. You are such a giant hunk of shit. And when I tell everyone exactly who you are, that's going to track. Because he's this dude, Perry Green, as in Marjorie Taylor Greene's ex-husband. Hold on, because the Mirror had perhaps the best headline in this situation. Husband files for divorce after wife has affair with polyamorous tantric sex guru. And I'm sure there were some questions about why that divorce happened back when it happened. Like, oh, what split them up? And then homie rolled into this video in a Cybertruck. And that did a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to answering the question of why Marjorie Taylor Greene might not have wanted to stay in that marriage, may have looked elsewhere. But here's the takeaway, Perry. In that scenario, the un-American person was you. Freedom of religion is a cornerstone of this country, and you tried to take that away from those young ladies, who I believe some are minors, by the way, you fucking scumbag. So I don't know if your life can get worse than being married to Marjorie Taylor Greene and then not even being good enough for Marjorie Taylor Greene as you roll around in your Cybertruck that's almost certainly going to fall apart at any point. But if it can get worse for you, this video proves that it absolutely should.
Demolish Middle East.
I was looking at the date because I want to say this video was posted on April 1st. Yeah, I think this happened like a week before or something. So it was like back in March sometime when this happened. It happened a while ago. And I showed it like months ago when I first saw it. And I was like, holy shit. Like, no one. Can you imagine that's what this guy will do while being filmed? Like, what was he doing when no one's watching? You know what I mean? This is the tip of an iceberg. What someone will do when people are filming them is the tip of the iceberg of what they are capable of when no one is around. That's all I was trying to say. Like, yeah, but I mean, yeah, and yeah, that is a Cybertruck, by the way. He is, of course, driving a Cybertruck, which is the ultimate sign of being a creep. Like, so yeah, I mean, it all tracks. I think we have to move on now to that hearing, this insane hearing that happened this morning. Since, God, I just can't even get into. I believe I was reading a new study, like for every person in the 1% that's getting a tax cut, 4 Americans lose their health care. It's crazy. Like, all of these things are coming out. Sorry, I've got to switch presentations really quick because I don't have this part in here. I have so many different. Oh my God, I forgot I put these. I just want to show you something. Gavin Newsom posted this today, which his press office account. Just saying, Gavin Newsom's press office just posted this today, and I was like, that's about right. There he is. There's our fearless leader. There's the guy that rides sharks. And then, like, by the way, this is real. This is also from today. Trump is fundraising off not being dead. Like, he is sending out fundraising emails off the fact he's not dead. The bar is in hell for conservatives. Hey, you're a bigot who's been credibly accused of grape or SA and huge amounts of fraud, who's of low intelligence, has no idea how to, base their opinions in data, and will do anything. A guy who says no men should wear makeup, but has a full face of makeup on, says they should do. Now we're fundraising off, hey, I'm not dead. This thing, This is real. This is I get Trump's fundraising emails. This is real. Trump is fundraising off not being dead. Like, that's for real. Like, I mean, I think it's supposed to be a joke. Trump fundraises off everything, truly. Any and everything. Like, they like, I mean, just the grifting is never ending. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. Hopefully we get to it tomorrow. There's a really good thread this journalist named Adam Cochran made, who I love. He's brilliant. And it's about what's wrong with Trump. Hopefully we'll get to that tomorrow. But I just think it's funny that that's the facts. And some of this is this was going to help us all lose our faith in America. But before we watch this RFK hearing that just happened, that I was clipping, I just want to play this. This is, Harry Ent does statistical analysis and polling for CNN, and his subject was vaccines. I mean, America is getting dumber. That's what we can be sure of. And I like how he's like, RFK Jr. is the most popular person in the Trump administration. I guess of all of the people in the Trump administration, that no administration has ever been mathematically despised more than this one, that I guess he's hated the least of all of other people in the cabinet that are hated more. Yeah. Hold on, sorry. I've got to get my clip. I know I have it. Give me 1 second. Sometimes when I add things, they don't add, so I have to go find them. Here it is. Oh, wait, wrong one. Where's my... Here it is. I actually hate this clip. Is the truth. I have fat fingers. Okay, here we go. Tap the screen. Let's get to 200K. We should be at 250K. I can only do this for an hour and 45 more minutes. I have a doctor's appointment. I've got to do something about my sinus infection because these meds aren't working. So I have to go at probably 3:15 at the latest. So tap the screen, share the live, and let's get engaged.
Secretary Kennedy could be the most embattled member of the cabinet. Fact check me here.
No, I think that's a false. That's a Daniel Dale fact check for you. False on that. What are we talking about here? Net favorable ratings of key Trump officials. Look at this. RFK Jr. ain't exactly popular, but he's the...
It's like, of the shitty, I guess he's the least. I love how he's like, he's the most popular guy in the... They hate everybody in the Trump administration. With the left and independents combined, all there is disdain for the Trump administration. So yeah, I guess he's the least hated, which is delusional, because he's literally engaged in a eugenics plan. Like, I mean, truly, that is the outcome of what RFK Jr. is doing. I mean, he's given many speeches talking about how he believes in eugenics. If you don't know what eugenics is, look up that word. It's EUGENICS. And you can look up Mustache Man and eugenics. But, I mean, that's what it is. It's survival of the fittest. It's weeding out the population. Like, I mean, that is... like the CDC director that resigned and all the other doctors that walked out, that is what they were stating unequivocally, is that this is eugenics. Like, they can't, the first rule of the, oh my God, Hippocratic oath is do no harm. And they're like, yeah, well, we're working for a guy that has never consulted us once for scientific data, is making this shit up as he goes, and seemingly has a plan to engage in eugenics, which is a culling of the U.S. population, which, yeah, I mean, and I've talked about this, it goes with my economic theory. Like, when all we are seeing is trickle-down economics just creates wealth inequality, right? And they don't want to pay for the people at the bottom of the economy. They don't want to provide living wages. They don't want to provide health insurance, which is a human right. And what's easier is just make it harder for them to survive. Don't. Make it harder for them to get vaccines, which I do find it hilarious that RFK, I mean, I guess the first people to unalive will be the majority of MAGA that have no idea that vaccines are their best chance at survival. But, whatever. Let's call that herd. Sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Hopefully it's still possible.
Harry, it's interesting. Fact check me here.
False on that. What are we talking about here? Net favorable ratings of key Trump officials. Look at this. RFK Jr. ain't exactly popular, but he's the most popular of all the key officials that we have recent polling on. Pete Hegseth, his net favorable minus 14 points. J.D. Vance, minus 11. Marco Rubio, minus 10. RFK Jr. is at minus 7, but minus 7 beats minus 10, beats minus 11, beats minus 14. So, no, RFK Jr. is not a drag on President Trump. He's not the most embattled. In fact, he is the most popular official in Trump's cabinet, at least according to the polling.
It is interesting, though there have been calls for his resignation among some people in the CDC, but this was surprising to me to see these poll numbers here, which is why I welcomed the fact check.
I don't know what is surprising. You're saying, hey, every single person Trump is number one is absolutely hated in the Trump administration. And of those people that no one trusts, I mean, of people whose brains work, of independents and the left, of people that follow lines of logic and aren't in cognitive dissonance, like we hate all of them and he's hated the least. That's the trophy now, is like, hey, this guy's hated the least. He should be hated the most. I mean, he is doing so much harm to children. It is disgusting, who are the only people worth a damn in this country that we should be protecting. So, I mean, I think that's a little strange, but I mean, who would we have to choose from? Couch boy, pathological lying weirdo, Lil Marco, another pathological lying weirdo, Pete Hegseth, who I had to read a 25-page police report where he was credibly accused of rape by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Republican woman at a Republican conference in California. Like, yeah, I mean, the bar is in hell of who he is less hated than. But okay.
From you. Another thing in the news has to do with Florida, where they're trying to overturn all vaccine mandates, including vaccine mandates in school for children. What do the polls tell us about that?
Okay, this to me is one of the most interesting and, in my opinion, most troubling trend lines that we have seen. Okay, vax kids against infectious diseases, the government should require it. You go back to 1991, it was 81%, okay? Then we go to 2019, it's 62%. Look at where that number fell to by 2024. It was just 51%. That is a 30-point drop from 34 years ago. My goodness gracious, now a bare majority say that the government should in fact require kids to be vaccinated against infectious diseases. Amongst Republicans, it's the opposite. The majority say the government shouldn't require it. Now I should
point out, this is the transition, and this is why I tie this to economics, trickle down economics, right? I always talk about 1980, but you can go back from 1975 until now, right? Like you can see it. America's getting dumber as wealth inequality increases, as government protects the rich, as healthcare programs are defunded, as the Department of Education is starved. People get dumber, more conspiratorial, more idiotic, right? I mean, this is true. Like, it drives them into poverty. The only way out of poverty is education. And the only thing that's dangerous for a fascist takeover is education, is science, is facts, is data-driven policy decisions, right? I mean, all of this tracks. Like, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, for a MAGA to be so dumb that they are participating in themselves getting dumber, understanding less, and it's literally leading them to a social engineering project, otherwise known as eugenics, where they are engineered out of existence by denying the poor, which is all of us, access to healthcare, access to education. That is the only ability to have that's the only way to have upward mobility. That is essentially what is happening. This is a social engineering project where we are all starved out of existence. And I don't want to tell you this, but I mean, the case study for this would be the Palestinians in that open air prison. Same thing happened to them. I could take you on a longer journey of how that happened, and it was accelerated because of world wars and different needs to exterminate people faster. But this is how it started, making it harder or more impossible to buy houses, all sorts of making it harder to have access to education, making it harder harder to have access to good food and nutrition, making it harder to have access to the vaccines they needed, making it harder to have, I mean, all this is exactly what happened to the Palestinians of what Trump's doing to the lower middle class in America. There's no middle class, so I'm just going to say all the rest of us. I mean, that's the facts. Like, and I love how MAGA is too dumb. I mean, they're cheering on the social engineering product that will be their destruction in the end, which is the ultimate irony. That is how dumb. I mean, how dumb must you be to be cheering on your own device and then showing up in live streams in the comments and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay, keep not getting vaccinated for the measles. Cool. Definitely don't vaccinate your offspring. Like maybe your genetic line should die. I just can read. I just understand science and math and understand how to find information. But who am I to tell you? Whatever. Great. Keep up the great parenting.
Point out this does depend a little bit on question wording. The polling out this morning says that the government should encourage it, but encourage it is very different from requiring it. And when it comes to requiring it, the American public has become increasingly skeptical of the idea that, in fact, the government should require kids to be vaccinated against infectious diseases.
And I want you here to talk about the political environment. So,
asking me why they're unaliving people. Well, I could tell you because of wealth inequality. Wealth inequality is growing, right? And as late stage capitalism happens, the upper middle class, the upper class, the 1% don't want to feel the effects of late stage capitalism. That's why I don't want to get into my chatbot economics teachers I use to have I have conversations with smart chatbots that are economics professors, and I was talking about this with one, and this is what I talk about. Like, my issue is not like I could talk about, Keynesian economics, liberalism, the globalism that we created. Like, our economy is based on consumption. The problem is that within trickle-down economics, the only thing we know that's been created is a shitload of wealth inequality. Like, that's why I cannot stand listening to MAGA say, we're number one GDP. What the fuck does that have to do with you? You don't have health care. You're one bankruptcy. You're one medical bankruptcy from having not a goddamn thing. And you're not getting any of that wealth. You're not getting any of that income. It's concentrated at the top. And I was having a debate on Friday. It was a bad debate because I just was like overexhausted and I couldn't get my words out. But I think this is my point. I could talk about either different economic systems and strategies to distribute goods and services and what to do with currency. But the problem is this: in the current system we're in with trickle-down economics, when wealth is constantly being transferred to the top of the economy, right? What happens at the top of the economy is that this is like low velocity circulation of currency, right? When money is concentrated in middle and lower classes, it's being spent constantly. It is fueling the economy. And understand, the U.S. economy is consumption based. We have to consume constantly so that that is what keeps our economy flowing. Now, when income is concentrated at the top of the economy and it's staying there, they have no need to recirculate that money. They have enough money. So what are they doing with it? They're speculating with it in the stock market, in the housing markets, causing what? Bubbles, right? Like the tech bubble that crashed, the housing bubble that crashed in 2009, right? That is what's happened. They speculate on different things, concentrate huge amounts of capital there, overvalue stocks and corporations, and then those bubbles crash and we all lose everything, which causes another, transfer of wealth to the top of the economy. And I don't like quantitative easing. Quantitative easing, like, people always, when you talk to idiot MAGA people who think they're libertarians, I agree quantitative easing causes inflation. I just want to explain that, right? But it's the same problem. Quantitative easing has to happen because of, this system we've decided to use. Quantitative easing is when we're not printing physical money like dollars, like you can hold in your hand. We're printing digital money, right? And then we're buying like bonds, stocks, right? We're infusing the economy and banks with capital. I mean, that's what's essentially happening. But that money is going to banks first, and it is creating more transfers of wealth to the top of the economy. Quantitative easing itself does hurt inflation, which could be overcorrected, Because when I was having that, sorry, not just to keep following, now, like I was talking about trickle down economics, and what fascinates me and a lot of people who are interested in economics is modern monetary theory, which is like this idea that everyone's like, oh my God, the US government, we owe so much money. Look at this deficit. Look at the debt. What are we going to do? Yeah, I mean, actually, modern monetary theory is an economic theory that says, hey, debt on government balance sheets are assets in the private sector, right? That's what we're saying. Deficit means nothing, essentially, because whatever is a deficit in the public, in the government balance sheet is, I know, Tootle, I'm so glad you're here to hear this, but you should have been present when my chatbot and I were having this conversation for 3 hours. He was like, you're so smart. I should read to you what he said. Anyways, like deficits on a balance sheet are assets in the private sector. But the problem is still the same problem. I love the ideas of modern monetary theory. What Biden was doing with the Green New Deal, that was largely modern monetary theory. But the issue of modern monetary theory, right, it's based on fiat currency. If you control your own currency, right, then who cares how much you owe and to who? Most of our debt, I mean, these are things we owe to ourselves and different issues of the government, and we're using that to fund assets in the private sector, right? And none of that essentially matters as long as we have enough social capital and belief in our economy to keep investor confidence alive, right? Modern monetary theory is fascinating. What Biden was doing with the Green New Deal is that, but here's the thing. If you have a charlatan, if you have a fascist, grifting authoritarian who's just stealing and concentrating wealth at the top of the economy, it doesn't matter what the economic theory is. All you have are transfers of wealth. Modern monetary theory is about infusing capital. I mean, if it was done right to benefit everyone in this country, we would be infusing capital into the middle class, or job guarantee is part of modern monetary theory. Let's say all these idiots with their asset bubble speculation at the top of the economy create a recession. A recession is just a loss in demand in a consumption-based economy. Let's say they create a recession and we all lose our jobs. In modern monetary theory, there's something called job guarantee. We would just be put on the books of the government and be given a basic living wage that way, right? And how do you control inflation? Taxing is just a way to control inflation. You tax the money out of the economy when there's too much money circulating. Modern monetary theory is fascinating, but as long as, let me just put it this way, because I think about this stuff all the time. My mind works overtime thinking about economics. I'm fascinated by it, but as long as conservatives are in control, they're just stealing. Like, you could use modern monetary theory to help the middle class, to help all of us. We could all be okay. We could have healthcare. We could invest in roads and bridges and products things that directly benefit everyone in America, in all sorts of things. But as long as we allow grifting conservatives that only care about the 1%, all we will have are huge transfers of wealth to the top. I'm so tired of people saying we have the number one GDP. 1% of this people in this country are doing okay. The rest of us are not. Like, yeah, we could have high-speed rails. Like, getting on planes is a joke, but and that's the next step is getting money out of politics, right? Or the first step. As long as lobbyists and billionaires decide every single person who has any power in the U.S. government, that's why I say I get frustrated with libertarians. And sometimes when I get frustrated, I have like a PTSD attack, so I can't think, right? And I always say, like, you're mad about printing digital money, but that's not the answer. Why are we doing it, right? Like, why are we quantitative easing? It's because these huge transfers of wealth are happening. The speculation at the top is happening in the stock market by very rich people and corporations, creating huge asset bubbles. And that then burst. Then we're using quantitative easing, and what we learned from the Great Depression, the biggest lesson of the Great Depression was if we don't immediately, you can create crypto bubbles as well. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the next giant crisis we're going to be in. And when, what we learned from the Great Depression is if we don't infuse currency immediately into the economy, understand the Great Depression, the unemployment rate was 25% or something. That's how bad it was. And that's what libertarians believe. We should suffer as much as possible, as fast as possible. It's a dose of medicine we all need to take, but that would be a culling of the population. Everyone's going to die. People are, the middle and lower classes have no excess capital, no way to buy food, no way to buy goods, right? So it would literally be a culling of the population. But that's the point, is as long as conservatives are in charge, as long as there's not a sane person who cares about everybody in this country, not just corporations and billionaires, there is always just going to be huge amounts of wealth inequality created. And that is the conversation we need to have, is why are conservatives constantly contributing to wealth inequality? That's all they do, period. And and that's why I didn't have the words when I was debating that kid on Friday, but he was I believe in low taxes. Well, first of all, tariffs are a regressive tax. If you believe in low taxes, you should hate Trump for the tariffs. It's fucking up our whole economy. None of that makes any sense. And which, by the way, we just got another jobs report. We have the worst jobs report. Well, the government jobs report, unless Trump doctors it, comes out tomorrow morning. But prior to the government jobs report coming out, the private sector job reports, we have the worst jobs report in the private sector since COVID. We have more people unemployed than jobs available in this country. I guarantee you that is largely due to tariffs. So, and it's the same thing. You can't switch between, modern monetary policy, who cares? A debt in the government is an asset on the balance sheet, but still taxation is how we keep inflation low, right? We need to take money out of circulation. But this is the key, not from the middle and lower classes, right? We have to tax it out of where it is stagnant. When money is in the hands of middle and lower classes, it's immediately recirculated, because we don't have reserve money. When it concentrates at the top of the economy, it stays up there, and it's used to create these asset bubbles through speculation. That is the problem. Sorry, I could talk about this for 10 more hours. I will not subject anyone to it. Yeah, anytime, I have no money. Anytime I make money, anytime I'm tipped on this show, I use it probably within the next week, right? It's recirculated in the economy immediately. When someone's making 10 million a year, that money is not high velocity money. It's not recirculating. It is just being used to speculate and create asset bubbles that then cause the housing bubble to burst, or the tech bubble to burst, or possibly the next crypto bubble to burst. That is the reality of the situation we're in. But you can't have that conversation with MAGA because they don't understand it. The problem is the corruption in government, but not the people. They'll point at being every government is corrupt. No, the money flowing into government, that people is corrupt, right? That is what we need. Sorry, I didn't talk. Sorry. I know I got some weird pop up on. I had a puzzle piece thing. I did not say anything while I was paused. I waited. Sorry. Let me get back to the presentation. I want to, as long as I'm talking about this economic stuff, maybe I'm going to show you this because it's important. I'm going to show you the jobs report stuff. Again, the final government jobs report will come out tomorrow, but what we have are the private sector jobs reports that have come out that are absolutely abysmal. Wait, what am I looking at? It's Thursday, right? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I was like, this cannot be right. I know I put these in here. Here we go. And they're banning stock trading. So 2 things. First, I'm going to show you the stock trading stuff. This is a press conference. So much went on yesterday. I didn't have time to show you guys. AOC is trying again. And she's got Chip Kelly. She has other Republicans. They seem confident they might get it passed this time, because what we need is to ban stock trading in Congress. And if you're just there to get stock tips and to make a lot of money, then you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be in Congress to get rich off insider trading. And if you don't like that, don't run. Just quit. Go be a corrupt, grifter somewhere else. Like, that's the answer.
There are 2 types of people who come to Washington. There are those who are determined to root out corruption and those who are wedded to the status quo. And the status quo has been in effect for far too long. It is long past time that we ban members of Congress from trading stocks. Why? Because the opportunity for corruption is just so great. When members of Congress decide how to vote on a bill, they should be voting based on what they think is best for the American people, not what is best for their investment accounts. When members of Congress come here, they should not be able to profit off of inside information that the average American and the average market participant does not have access to. Now, I am very grateful to everyone on this stage for having the courage to do the hard thing and stand up for reform. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Those of us who support banning stock trading in Congress are very vocal in our position. But that doesn't mean that there aren't opponents. It's just that the opponents don't say it so vocally, but they say it quietly behind closed doors, and they're very persistent, believe me. And so it takes courage, and it takes, I think, a real maturity for members who, to be frank, everybody on the stage probably doesn't always agree with each other on very much. But one of the things that we all understand is that in order for legislating to work, in order for Washington to work, we need to be able to put aside our differences every once in a while and work together where we can in the interest of the American people. There are 2 types of people.
This is, if anyone's like, who the F is that? This is Seth Magaziner. He's like the representative from the 2nd District of Rhode Island. If anyone's like, who the F is that? Sorry, I forgot to say his name. This is Pramila Jayapal, who's on the Progressive Caucus, who I love. Keep tapping the screen. Let's get to 200K.
I think we are doing the simplest thing that we can do in many ways. It is the simplest thing that the American people want, which is to know that their member of Congress represents them and not their own pocketbooks. And that's really what this is about. Brian talked about insider trading and the information we get. We also should know that people are taking votes on issues where they're not thinking about their own stock portfolio. At the core, this is really about public trust. And public trust right now in government is at an all-time low. And there's a good reason for that, because people don't know who we represent. I think we are doing the simplest thing that we can do in many ways. It is the simplest thing that the American people want, which is to know that their member of Congress represents them.
I played this twice, right? Did I play it all the way through and start
not
over?
Their own pocketbooks. And that's really what this is about. Brian talked about insider trading.
Okay, yeah, just making sure I played it all. Yeah, Pramila Jayapal's from Washington. I have a weird thing. I love her. I think 7th, but that could be wrong. I could have just made it up because I was thinking about Corey Mills. The guy who lied about to get a Bronze Star, is allegedly abusing his mistress, not the woman he's married to in Florida, his mistress, and then is now being, I'm just talking about the censure. If you weren't watching yesterday's live, Corey Mills they read off a resolution to censure Corey Mills. He's the new Matt Gaetz. The things that man is lying about are absolutely un-effing believable. If you haven't heard about it, like Trump saying that the governor of Maryland lied about his Bronze Star. Every person, Corey Mills filled out an application for a Bronze Star, and they went and found every person named in that application who's like, that guy didn't save me. Like, I wasn't even injured in combat. I have no idea what he's talking about. Like, Republican, I love when, my favorite is when conservatives are like, the left are liars. Yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. And when someone on the left is lying or is committing horrific crimes, crimes, or beating up their mistresses like while their wife's at home in Florida. What happens on the left is called accountability. Like what you guys do is cover shit up. Like that's the reality, truly, of what's going on. But here's AOC, because again, she's a co-author of this bill. She has tried to not only, with Bernie Sanders, to undo Citizens United, first, we have to stop. Not first. At the same time, we have to stop people in Congress from financially profiting off of information. The reason that TikTok bill ever went through, that doesn't help anyone, right? If we want, it's very simple. Data privacy laws. That's what you do. We get data privacy laws like there are the European Union. We don't need to ban individual corporations. There's just data privacy laws. But I've spent hours and hours talking about every person in Congress who took a huge position in Meta and bet on TikTok's failure. It's ridiculous. So we have to do two things. We've got to get Citizens United. We got to handle Citizens United. We have to stop money coming in from lobbyists, dark money coming in from super PACs, right, to bribe people. And then we've got to stop Congress from stock trading. And until we do that, this will always be a corrupt government that creates more wealth inequality, because the people up here are using all their resources to control the U.S. government and everyone in it, right, or everyone who's for sale. But I can say this. I'm not saying there's not Democrats for sale. You can follow who they're accepting money from on opensecrets.org. But by and large, am I confident that more conservatives are bought and paid for? Yeah, because this is public information, and you can find who everyone is being lobbied by or bribed by, whatever you want to say. Conservative Republicans are bought and paid for.
I think that this issue has brought so many of us across the political spectrum together because we are united by the value that people should feel that their elected representative puts them and their interests first, and that we are here first and foremost to do the job that the public has sent us to do. And in many ways, I feel like this press conference and this podium shouldn't necessarily be facing out here. I don't think we need to sell the American people on this. We need to be turning it around and making sure that we get this thing past the post. And I want to thank Congressman Roy for the effort you've put in this Congress specifically to move this forward. And every year we've been getting closer. And I do believe, as we said, that this year we're going to get the vote. And I also want to thank...
Really? Is it possible? This is my issue with this. I'm not worried about the House. I think there's enough people with not so much in the House, because there's a high, churn rate in the House, and people come there with less. My fear is the 50 grubby fucking weirdos who've been amassing wealth. Not everyone, not Bernie Sanders, but most of those senators, particularly the Republican ones, and some moderate Democrats, are bought and paid for in the Senate. That would be my question, is how are we going to get it through the Senate? Can someone explain to me how we're going to get the people with hundreds of millions of dollars that are bought and paid for by lobbyists and who are profiting off Trump's tax plan, profiting off Trump lowering taxes for corporations, that benefit from wealth inequality, from a wealth gap, and from a culling of poor people? MAGA, look it up. I can't explain it to you because I don't want to say the word because I'm going to get banned. So I'm trying to use words that maybe TikTok hasn't censored.
Brian Fitzpatrick as well for for some of the work that we've done in co-sponsoring our original bill on this. But it's very rare, I feel, in Washington that when we bring multiple stakeholders and folks together to negotiate on a bill, that you leave that room feeling like the bill got better. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it feels like we'll get to an agreement and we're holding our nose to get something past the post. But I genuinely feel in this process that in putting all of our bills together, we've actually ended up with a product that is legitimately stronger than the sum of its parts. And it is one of those rare moments where I feel like Washington is working the way that it's supposed to work, and it feels foreign and it feels alien, and it's like, what's going on here? But I also think it is proof that that things can work here. And when we put our disagreements aside, of which of course there may be many, but we focus on the things that we have in common, we can make our country better, we can make this institution better, and we can increase and earn the faith of the American people, which is really genuinely the core of our work here. And so to that end, I want to thank everyone for their incredibly hard work. We are going to get this done. It requires standing up against the powers that be, but because of the support of the American people on this issue, you all have generated the momentum necessary to give us the power to be able to do this. And I look forward to bringing this to a vote. I look forward to banning the trading of individual stock on the floor and by members of Congress, and I'm looking forward to making this place a better place that puts the American people. I think that
you are in, and I want to say something, and I'm sorry, I didn't see who wrote it. Someone said, or we could ban Citizens United. It's not or, it's and, right? This is about individual stock trading, which Citizens United has nothing to do with. We have to do both. If we ever want to have hope of lowering the giant gap of wealth inequality I was just describing and talking about economic theory and how we can do it, it's and, right? We have to ban individual rich weirdos from running for Congress knowing, oh, I'm going to get that I'm going to get that insider tip, and and I'm going to grow my personal fortune. And then, as well as we have to stop Citizens United, which is, John Roberts is a monster, basically saying corporations are people, right? And like we could use dark, and corporations are made up of people. So a corporation's a person, and then we can, they should have voices. So we can have billions of dollars of dark money flowing into the government and lobbyists bribing people. Yeah, we have to get that to stop. It's both. It's both. I mean, and I'll say this, you'll be hard pressed to find a MAGA person who has any idea what they're talking about that doesn't agree with this. Like, that's why AOC seems happy. She's like, look at this bipartisan work. We've got a bunch of people who agree on the same things. Like the far left and the far right, these are the fundamental tenets that we agree on. We need to get corruption, which corruption is money. Understand that when we talk about corruption in government, it's not, it's the left is corrupt. It's the money, or the right is, it's the money flowing in, right? And the people who then follow that money. Now we have senators who have hundreds of millions of dollars who are like, I'm here for my stock tip and to make sure that I don't get taxed and that the corporations I own and benefit off of don't get taxed and my capital gains don't get taxed, right? And that creates the giant wealth inequality and transfers of wealth. Like, I think I was talking about this. There's a great Time magazine article when I was working with my chatbot economics professor to cite sources on the stuff we were talking about. Like that, basically, there's 2.5 trillion a year now being transferred from the middle and lower classes to the top of the U.S. economy. And like we said, that money doesn't immediately recirculate. It stagnates and then is used for speculation, which creates recessions through asset bubbles. That is the issue. So anyways, I love AOC, but I wanted to show you a couple other clips that like were in that was posted by C-SPAN or Home of the Brave or something. But this is another clip that I thought was funny of her yesterday talking.
Fact of the matter is, respectfully, and I know I may offend some of my colleagues here, but
it means disrespectfully, I think.
Fact of the matter is, respectfully, and I know I may offend some of my colleagues here, but millionaires are very overrepresented in Congress, and
no offense.
No offense.
I wish I were more offended.
Little too many.
I was like, not the people standing here, but yeah, like millionaires are overrepresented in Congress. That's the point. And like, that's the other thing that dumbass MAGA people have completely wrong. We want public servants. Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't want unbelievably wealthy people making rules so they can get richer, right? We want public servants. We want people who, yes, we're not trying to like starve them. We want them to be able to like have places to live and eat, but they should not be, there with their, passing laws and getting stock tips to get richer. We do want public servants, period. That's who we want. That's who we can trust, are people that aren't grifting and financially benefiting from the information inside Congress. That is what we need to go back to, right? Period. Oh, MAGA, how do they not understand this? I know, Bud's supermarket. I know. Don't even ask. They don't understand it because they're being lied to by billionaires. Like, imagine you're being led by a billionaire, grifter, liar who's robbing you. They're like, it's like, and just a general, who's starving you of the education you need to get, I was going to say smart. I'm going to say less dumb enough that you could figure out that you're being robbed by that. Do you see what I'm like? They're in a feedback of idiocy that never ends, and like worshiping a man who is their abuser. Like, that's the funniest part of the whole thing, is it's like you can't even correctly identify who's stealing from you. They still think it's brown people. The economy is collapsing. We are wasting billions and hundreds of billions of dollars on deporting people who were propping up our economy. Like, tell me without telling me that your brains don't work.
Here, and with respect to the proportion of the American people, if we want a Congress that reflects the actual country that we seek to represent and fight for, we need to have working class people who live here. And I actually believe, and who work here, and I feel that actually banning the trade of individual stock can help even the playing field and, perhaps open the door to other provisions that can make this an easier place for working class people to get elected to and serve.
Amen. That's amen. I could not agree more. I also like this clip of when AOC was walking away, because that's the point. You don't need to convince the American people. We don't want people in Congress like using insider information to get rich. That's why I always go over the Unusual Whales report, which is basically people insider trading in Congress and outperforming the stock market by huge concerning percentages. This is what she was walking away. She basically says, like, if you're like, what is she saying? She's like, if anybody says this isn't fair, I'm going to have to divest all my stocks if I run for Congress. Maybe they should stay home. That's the truth. If you don't think it's fair, if you're so interested in making money, then you're not a public servant. You shouldn't be in government. Like, you're a person who's in it for yourself. That's not what's going on in government. You're serving the people in government, not growing your personal fortune through grifting and stealing insider stock tips and creating legislation that help the rich get richer. That's not what government is supposed to be about.
Yeah, you guys jump in.
No, I mean, if anyone says, this isn't fair, I'm going to have to divest all my stocks if I'm going to run for Congress, maybe you should stay home. I think that, as someone, I ran for office, I was a waitress, plenty of people have to make tons of sacrifices to run for office. But I think that really the idea that this is some undue burden is outrageous. And the fact of the matter is, respectfully and
you guys.
It is outrageous. Let's be honest. It is outrageous. And I like that Anna Paulina Luna signed on to this. Where were you on that discharge petition for Epstein that you talked about signing for the last 6 months? You coward. I'm sorry. I don't ever want to see Anna Paulina lunatic again. She drives me nuts. This is another thing I was going to tell you a couple of days ago that's important. Creepy Clay Higgins, who has been, was thrown out of the police force in Louisiana for, being a racist who was involved in several racially charged incidents where he was, beating black people and all sorts of things. I don't know. You could all look this up. It's public information. Representative Clay Higgins, conspiracy theorist that believes the FBI were driving ghost buses to J6, all of which has been disproved. I I can't believe no one knows this. Representative Clay Higgins is a monster. Anyways, you remember how, he's the biggest problem. Look at, I mean, all of this is public information. Just look up Clay Higgins' disgusting past with the police in Louisiana. You can find it all. It's all public. I've talked about it over and over and over. It's just, I haven't had to talk about this creep. I mean, he's so unintelligent and lazy. I don't have to talk about him that much, except for when he's just spreading conspiracy theories and bigotry and lies. Like, that's the only time I have to bring him up. So, do you know how creepy Alina Habba, who lost the second, she was Trump's lawyer, special friend, in the second E. Jean Carroll appeal, and she lost it miserably, and she didn't know how to enter an exhibit into evidence, and the judge is like, what the are you doing? Like, you cannot be in court if you don't know how to do your job as a lawyer. She's never been a criminal defense lawyer. I don't even know. And then Trump made her the interim head of the New Jersey DOJ office. And one of the very legal things any representative in Congress can do in their districts is conduct oversight of any ICE facility on the spot. You can show up and conduct oversight, make sure people are safe, they're being taken care of, they're being fed. Remember? And LaMonica McIver, remember, first they charged the mayor of, not Trenton, Newark, Ross Baraka, because an unlicensed ICE facility owned by, it's either Core Civic or Geo Group, I can't remember, just went up and people were being trapped inside it. They had never passed health inspections, fire codes. The police chief tried to get in there. The fire chief tried to get in there. Then Ross Baraka tried to get in there. They wouldn't let them. So I showed all this on this live. So then they went and got their local Congress people who can conduct oversight. One is Bonnie Coleman, who's an 80-year-old woman. The other was LaMonica McIver. Both are black women. And then Gold Bar Bob's son, also, which I think his name might be Robert. Oh, sorry. It's been a while since I talked to him too. He was there. Anyways, they end up arresting Ross Baraka, and there's this riot of masked ICE agents that are pushing them around. They're arresting Ross Baraka. And then those charges didn't stick because he had done nothing wrong. And then Alina Habba, in all her idiocy, charged LaMonica McIver, a representative in the U.S. Congress, who is allowed to do spot checks and oversight anytime she wants in an ICE facility in her district, with felonies, right? She charged a black woman with felonies for doing her job. Yeah. And then recently, a federal judge ruled that Alina Habba had no legal right to be the head. She's not a qualified lawyer. She has no idea what she doesn't understand. She didn't have the qualifications, the legal qualifications to even be the head of the New Jersey DOJ office, and was acting illegally. So everything she did during her little stint there is probably illegal. So I don't know. Hopefully that means that they're just going to dismiss LaMonica McIver's charges. But crazy Clay Higgins decided to try to censure LaMonica McIver 2 days ago. That's what I'm talking about. He's like, I'm going to just try to shame her for doing her congressional duty, which I showed you all the videos where they said she assaulted someone. I played every video in slow motion. The Washington Post had experts isolate all this and along with the indictment and prove that none of it happened. And I played all those videos on this clip. I promise you she didn't do anything she's being accused of, which... That's the funny part. But Clay Higgins is we should get her in trouble. We should censure her in Congress. Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta find this clip. So, 2 days ago, have you guys heard Clay Higgins' voice? He sounds like, I don't know what the right word is, a creepy ghost who's a creepy ghost from the South who's yelling at people. Oh, here it is. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intention to raise a question to the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows. House Resolution number 539, censuring Representative LaMonica McIver and removing her from the Committee on Homeland Security. Whereas, Mr. Speaker,
the whole thing, since I'm not going to read a white man railroading and lying about a black woman. So yeah, I don't need to do that. The reason I'm bringing this up, I was going to tell you guys about it when it happened, when I was doing my live on Wednesday, but we didn't get to it. Hold on, let me go back to my presentation. The reason I'm bringing this up is because a couple Republicans helped Democrats out yesterday and quashed the Clay Higgins resolution. Because even people in Congress know she didn't do anything wrong. So Republicans gave the Democrats the vote they needed to table Clay Higgins' creepy resolution so that they're not going to censure her, which is the right thing to do, which I was like, okay, great. At least a couple Republicans have the decency to do the right thing.
The banks did not protect us.
So 207, President, or 2, the motion is adopted, and without objection, the reconsider is laid on the table.
Oh, we got the Republican votes to join with all the Democrats to stop LaMonica McIver from being censured for doing her job and conducting spot oversight of an immigration facility. Meanwhile, we censure people like Corey Bells, who allegedly beat up his mistress, lied about it, then committed campaign finance violations and fraud around campaign finance violations, and then lied on the Bronze Star application, and every single person they contacted who Corey Mills claimed he saved in combat said they weren't injured in combat, nor did any of it happen. Those are the type of people we think should be investigated by the Ethics Committee and censured, but they're just angry at a black congresswoman who did her job. That tracks. That's conservative men for you. Keep wasting our tax dollars being insecure. No need to, do anything reasonable. I want to show you guys this clip really quick. Hold on. I want to show you guys this jobs report clip. Remember, so the government jobs report will come out tomorrow. This is the private sector jobs report, which is super damning. Again, I forgot here. We're now in a worse place than we were. The worst place we were in the private sector since the pandemic. Great job, conservatives and Donald Trump. Keep it up. Put on more makeup and tell us how men shouldn't dress in drag. We can't wait.
Flashing yellow light when it comes to the job market, because not only has hiring really dried up, but announced layoffs remain very high. So during the month of August, almost 86,000 announced layoffs by U.S.-based employers. That is up 39% from July, also higher than last August. In fact, this is the most for any August since 2020. Of course, that was during a once-in-a-century health crisis. So where are the layoffs? Well, Challenger Gray and Christmas found that a number of different sectors have laid off more people than they did at this point last year, including finance. But look at pharmaceuticals, more than double the announced layoffs from this point last year. Retail, nonprofits, and government announced layoffs way up, although I would note that some of those government layoffs, of course, have been challenged in court. As far as why companies are laying off workers, Challenger Gray and Christmas found a number of reasons during the month of August, including restructuring, market/economic conditions, and closing. Those top three, of course, speak to industry-specific pressure and/or pressure on the overall economy. And then number 4 on that list is DOGE, the government efficiency panel that was previously led by Elon Musk, slashing government spending. Now, I would just note that Challenger is tracking announced layoffs, right? The Labor Department tracks actual filings for unemployment. And those initial filings for unemployment, they do remain relatively low. And that could be because of a timing issue, right? Some of these announced layoffs may not have actually kicked in. Some people who were laid off, they're probably collecting severance, so they don't need unemployment. And others have probably gotten jobs elsewhere. But one other thing we should point out when it comes to the job market is some new numbers that came out yesterday. The number of job openings in July falling to a 10-month low of 7.18 million. That is very significant because look, that
I want to be clear. We have more unemployed people than job openings. Do you understand? We're upside down in the economy, which, and I remember I was explaining, this is why in June I started explaining, like, we're entering stagflation, right? So whilst this is happening, right, inflation is driving up, and stagflation is when you have two problems and the only solutions are the opposite solutions, right? We have a very big employment problem that's growing month over month, right? We can see that now. These are the July numbers. The problem's growing, or this is the numbers from July. It's worse than June, right? We have 7.18 million job openings. We have 7.24 unemployed people. That's terrifying, right? And the answer to that would be what? Lower interest rates, make money cheaper to borrow, stimulate the economy. The problem with that is inflation is rising, and because of tariffs. And the only answer to inflation rising is hold interest rates steady and try to drive inflation back down, right? In the immediate. Like, that's the only answer. And that's what stagflation is, when you have rising inflation and crashing employment rates at the same time. And there's no right answer, because whatever you do to move the economy will continue to hurt one or the other. The only answer is to stop with the tariffs. And I just want to be clear that, again, at any time Congress, and by that I mean the conservative Republicans who control every branch of government, want to stop and take away Trump's power and say, hey, old Orange Man River has no idea how to run the economy and we need to stop him, they can take away his tariff power anytime they want. Anytime they want. And we are moving towards a government shutdown. If you remember last time, dumbass Chuck Schumer joined with them and gave them the votes they need to keep the government open. We need to shut the government down. I mean, what's going to happen? More people will lose it. They've already fired everyone in the government. Nothing can get worse at this point. Like, everyone's already gone. If we don't shut down the government, if we don't take a stand, someone needs to go punch Chuck Schumer in the face. Allegedly, hypothetically, I'm just saying that. I'm not saying do it. That's just, you know what I'm saying.
That is actually below the number of people who are unemployed. It's the first time there's been fewer open jobs than there are people looking for work in more than 4 years. And John, that is, of course, another sign of a slumping job market.
We're going to get new jobs numbers tomorrow?
Yes, new job numbers tomorrow, and those will be very big, including potential.
Very respectfully pop him in the face. Chuck Schumer needs to go. Well, I'm just saying, there's some moderate Democrats in the Senate that are out of their GD minds. Like, either we take a stand now and take this tariff power away from old man crazy River, or like what? It doesn't matter what we do, what you think we should do. Like, we're just creating inequality. That's all. That's all Trump's doing, is stealing and driving wealth to the top of the economy that then will drive more recessions, which then leads to quantitative easing and, other things that drive more money to the top of the economy. Like, it's this circular logic that only benefits the rich. Conservatives are monsters. They don't care about us, like, truly. I mean, and any ones that did, they've gotten rid of. That's the truth. Oh, God. Okay. Sorry. I'm just thinking, sorry. I think I might missed a call from my doctor. I'm just thinking if I should go call my doc. I have a doctor's appointment at, 3. Well, I'm supposed to check in at 3:05, but I think the actual appointment's at 3:20. Sorry, Pacific time, if you're wondering. But I'm just thinking, should I just even start on this now or just wait until tomorrow? I think I'm just going to wait until tomorrow and we'll do the RFK. Because the other thing that's happened, I need to clip the CDC director hearing, and I'll get to that. I'll do that tonight because there's two major hearings that happened. RFK being screamed at by every single person in Congress. It was a bipartisan shaming. And then Trump fired the CDC director that he confirmed that RFK said he would, vouched for with his life and was amazing. And today in the hearing, he's like, oh, she was a liar. And they're like, you just said that she was the most amazing person you'd ever met. And now because she wouldn't lie for you and support you taking vaccines from children and the elderly, that she's a liar? Maybe she just actually does follow. And even Elizabeth Warren's like, yeah, I thought she was going to fold like a lawn chair and do whatever Trump said. And I was wrong. And she didn't. So you guys got rid of her. Like, that is literally what happened. It turned out, she had another woman who had a spine and was highly educated, stood up to them. And then insecure MAGA men who are like, we got to stop giving people hormones. It said, if there is one person on earth on the most testosterone, it's RFK. But he's worried about people being on testosterone supplements. Look in the mirror. He was dying during the hearing. I can't wait to show you guys these clips. He was actually, before I go, I'm just going to start playing a couple because I think you guys need to see. I want to show you. I love Ron Wyden. Thank you for subscribing, Nikki. Appreciate you. Ron Wyden, who I believe is the senator from Oregon, right? He is the ranking member. This was the Senate Finance Committee that was attacking RFK for hours. And he had an open, I've never heard, Ron Wyden's like a very reasonable, very smart guy. And this whole hearing, he was like, stop lying, you're a liar, what are you talking about? But for 10 minutes at the beginning of this hearing, he's just like, hey, we got this guy who's a pathological liar here. I'm now gonna list the ways in which he lied. And I was like, this is like heaven. Can we do this to RFK every single day? Listen to this. Ron Wyden is my hero.
As the committee gathers today, the United States is in the midst of a health care calamity, the largest cuts to American health care in the history of our nation, and they are approaching like an avalanche. Last week, most of the senior leadership at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention were fired or they resigned after refusing to bow to Robert Kennedy's unceasing crusade against vaccines. I traveled across Oregon last month, and the message was the same from one end of the state to the other. Families are confused. They're scared about who to trust about their health care. Robert Kennedy and Donald Trump have done so much to feed that mistrust. This morning, my staff, in partnership with Senator Alsobrooks' team, is releasing a report that shows the disaster of Robert Kennedy's 203 days in office. Every single day, there's been an action that endangers the health and wellness of American families. Robert Kennedy has elevated conspiracy theorists, crackpots, and grifters to make life or death decisions about the health care of the American people. Robert Kennedy's tenure is so far marked by three calling cards. One is chaos at federal health agencies, leaving families, doctors, and the entire nation confused and frightened. Corruption that benefits Robert Kennedy, Donald Trump, and their friends at the expense of taxpayers. And higher health costs for families. I ask unanimous consent, Mr. Chairman, to enter this report into the record.
Without objection.
Then there's chaos. It's been obvious from the start that Robert Kennedy's primary interest is to take vaccines away from Americans. During his confirmation process, he claimed to be pro-safety and pro-science, but his actions reveal a steadfast commitment to elevating junk science and fringe conspiracies. His agenda has not been about choices and information for families. Just last week, he threatened doctors that deviated from the new anti-science vaccine guidelines he released that make it harder for pregnant women and children to get the COVID vaccine. And then there's corruption. Robert Kennedy's bizarre statements and actions beg the question, why? Democrats on this committee answered that question months ago. Robert Kennedy can enrich himself and his allies. His family still stands to gain from the group responsible for making vaccine recommendations to doctors across the country under the false pretense of conflicts of interest. Meanwhile, many of the new members of the panel are outright vaccine deniers who've appeared as paid witnesses in lawsuits against vaccine makers. Their conflicts of interest and ethics disclosures remain hidden under lock and key. On top of all this bedlam in American healthcare, just 2 months ago, Donald Trump signed into law the largest healthcare cuts in American history to pay for tax breaks for the wealthiest people and massive corporations in our country. Republicans know these cuts are going to hit communities like a wrecking ball. That's why they pushed the most severe cuts until after the election. That's why their members already introduced bills to roll back some of the cuts. Make no mistake, though, those cuts are being felt right now. We're seeing hospitals in Idaho cutting payments, hospitals and nursing homes. Providence Seaside Hospital in Oregon announced they're shutting down their labor and delivery unit. Every family is going to feel the burden of Trump care in America. Premiums are going to spike next year, especially for those who buy health insurance on their own, but the effects will be felt by those who get insurance also through an employer. Congress has an opportunity to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits that lower the cost of premiums. Democrats are ready to pass an extension that stops a dramatic premium spike that would force many families to pay double what they do today. Instead of finding ways to help American families pay less for health care, Robert Kennedy is focused on his anti-vaccine mission, fueled by some kind of complex that the consequences be damned. Amid this litany of corruption and chaos, the one point I have to underline is Robert Kennedy puts children in harm's way every single day in America. To my Republican colleagues, I must ask, what line must Robert Kennedy cross before some of you will also join this alarm? This weekend, under the cover of darkness, Robert Kennedy attempted to disappear hundreds of children under his care at Office of Refugee Resettlement facilities. These children here without parents or family were rounded up in the middle of the night and put on planes to Guatemala. Lawyers on the ground described.
Have you heard about this? What they did to a bunch of kids who have no parents. Their parents are like no longer with us, a lot of them. And they just rounded up children in the dead of night while their lawyers were screaming and trying to stop them and and deported them to places where they're going to be trafficked. Like
unthinkable scenes. Our staff, some who are here today, were party to this in the middle of the night, and one child said to their lawyer, "Why do they want to send me back? My mom is dead and my dad abuses me. Why do they want to hurt me?" This was an actual conversation. These actions were illegal. Documents show that many of these children were in the country to escape trafficking in their homeland. Mr. Kennedy calls himself a protector of children. Some kind of rich claiming from somebody who's flown on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet on multiple occasions. I don't think Robert.
It's 3 times. RFK said the plain manifest of Epstein 3 times, and I'm not kidding you. I had the clip somewhere, but this is from like 2 years ago. I want to say it was like 2022. He, in an interview, it was like, "Oh, I was fossil hunting." I'm not joking around. He said he needed to be on Epstein's plane for fossil hunting. Outside of that, I just want you to know, he has been credibly accused and has admitted to and apologized to some of his accusers of SA. Like, he's a known creep, and his excuse is, and I'm quoting, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he just said like, "Oh, I was on all types of I don't remember," kind of thing. Like, I just want to be clear. RFK Jr. is a known creep.
Kennedy should be within 1 million miles of this job. Republicans on the committee had a chance to prevent the public health train wreck that Mr. Kennedy has engineered, everyone voted for him. It is in the country's best interest that Robert Kennedy step down, and if he doesn't, Donald Trump should fire him before more people are hurt by his reckless disregard for science and the truth. I also would like to note Senator Cantwell has joined us in this effort. I hope, at the very least, Robert Kennedy has the decency to tell the truth this morning. Mr. Chairman, I have a procedural request I'd like to make at this time. It's a short one.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's unfortunate that I have to say this, but this is a witness who has lied to members of the Senate Finance Committee. In response to over 35 written questions, including from me, he said, and I quote, that he would do nothing as HHS Secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking vaccines. That was clearly not true. His unprecedented unilateral actions to restrict access to COVID vaccines, that alone proves it. He tried to fire the Senate-approved CDC director after she chose the truth over what I consider his delusions. His prepared testimony even today includes the debunked lie that 500,000 children disappeared under the Biden administration's watch, a lie that the Trump administration is using as a pretext to hunt immigrant children and their families. So, my request, Mr. Chairman, and I think it is unfortunate that I have to do this, but given the unprecedented nature of the witness's behavior, I would ask now that the committee formally swear in Robert Kennedy as a witness.
Senator Whiting, I will personally object and will reject your request. We will treat this witness as we treat all of the other administration witnesses.
Oh, a senator from Idaho, science-denying conspiracy theorist Mike Crapo objects? I'm shocked. Yes, let's not swear in RFK so he can continue pathologically lying not under oath. I'm so surprised that conservatives would allow RFK and the rest of the Trump administration to continue pathologically lying while engaging in a eugenics plan to engineer the lower middle class out of existence by starving them of the resources that we need for upward mobility and general health and wellness. Like, yeah, whatever happened to, promote the general welfare in the preamble to the Constitution? I'm shocked that a conservative will be like, no, we will not swear him in. We will not make this man tell the truth. Let's just let him pathologically lie. Yeah, great. Of course you will.
Come before us. And let me just say again, as I said in my opening remarks, we will have some partisan disagreements today. We're having partisan disagreements right now, and I am having partisan disagreements with you on your characterization of the facts. The bottom line is we will let the Secretary make his own case in his opening statement.
I'll only say, Mr. Chairman, that this committee's unwillingness to swear this witness is basically a message that it is acceptable to lie to the Senate Finance Committee about hugely important questions like vaccines. I think it's a great mistake, and that's why I've made the request. I understand that you're not going to grant it, and as the committee...
Nothing more to stay here and show you the rest of this. And I know some people are like, oh, here, my favorite clip is this. I have Warnock's. I have every single bit of this clip. That's what I spent the whole morning doing. It's just, I have a doctor's appointment, and the reason it paused while he's speaking is my doctor is trying to call me, and now they're texting me saying she needs to meet with me earlier. So I just have to meet with her because of this sinus infection. Otherwise, you're not going to see me for a week because I'm going to get so sick I'm going to die. Like, I just have to do a doctor's appointment. Maybe I'll go live later, but otherwise I will do this tomorrow because I know this is one of the most fascinating hearings. Like, there were Republican senators screaming at RFK for being a pathological liar, a charlatan, and idiot, and every single Democratic senator was screaming at him. It was people had giant poster boards like, you are a liar. It was one of the greatest things ever. So don't worry. We will watch every pleasurable clip of this. I have them all. I went back and just recorded all people's whole 5 minutes and over, because I'm like, this is just too good. It's so enjoyable. I'm sorry, but I have to just get to the doctor before she leaves. My doctor's old. She's not going to be with us for long. She's probably tired. It's like 3:00. She probably needs to go to dinner and go to bed. So I'm going to leave you, but I'll be back tomorrow. We will do this and much more.